Good afternoon, East Alabama and West Georgia. Dr. Don with you. We welcome those of you who are listening this afternoon via radio on WFAZ, God's Country 90.9 FM, and WJHO 89.7, The Classic. And, of course, our viewers on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and on DrDonWX.com via the Dr. Don Weather app. We are here this afternoon to talk to you about the potential for a high-end severe weather event across East Alabama and West Georgia later on this evening, certainly across Mississippi and West Alabama, and then those storms will move into East Alabama and West Georgia late this evening into the pre-dawn hours of Thursday morning. And so we thought we'd jump in here this afternoon, kind of tell you what's going on out there right now and what we anticipate happening as we get into the overnight hours this evening. As you can see, the Storm Prediction Center has a moderate risk of severe weather, which covers just about the entire state of Mississippi, portions of southwest Tennessee, back into West Alabama, and all the way down into south central Alabama. They have moved that a little bit to the right down there in southern Alabama. And then we have an enhanced risk of severe weather, which covers all of pretty much central and east Alabama. It runs right down the Alabama-Georgia state line. And then an enhanced risk of severe weather across West Georgia down into the Florida Big Bend area, then up through north central Georgia into north Georgia and into portions of central Tennessee. And then a marginal risk of severe weather, which covers from eastern Kentucky through eastern Tennessee and down into northeast Georgia and across the eastern sections of the state. And I think that slight and marginal risk area both will get pushed to the east as the storm system moves to the east as well. I wouldn't really anticipate the moderate risk getting pushed much further to the east, and there is a slight chance we could see that enhanced risk area pushed off to the east a little bit more as well. So that is from the Storm Prediction Center. Now let's take a look at the latest graphics from the National Weather Service office in Birmingham at the Shelby County Airport. You see that moderate risk for severe weather across West Alabama, basically in central Alabama from Birmingham down to Troy. So right down I-65 to Montgomery, and then it continues off to the southeast down to around Troy. From Birmingham to Troy back toward Mississippi, we're looking at a moderate risk of severe weather this afternoon into the early evening hours. And then from Birmingham to Troy east, which is over into East Alabama, which is where our coverage area is, we're looking at an enhanced risk of severe weather. Now, why does West Alabama stand a better chance of seeing severe weather than East Alabama? Well, this line of thunderstorms is expected to be somewhat weakening as it moves into East Alabama. But as I told you last night during the update, I don't want you to get a false sense of security here because you're hearing that. You've probably heard that all day today, that this is going to be a weakening line of severe storms. And I'm afraid that sends the wrong message. When we say weakening, we're talking about the tornado potential. We're not talking about the straight line wind potential, and a damaging straight line wind thunderstorm packing winds of 70 to 80 miles per hour can cause just as much damage as a low-end tornado. So you folks across East Alabama, maybe we don't see the long-lived, violent, long-track tornadoes, but we certainly could see a low-end tornado, and we most definitely could see damaging straight line winds as this line of storms move into East Alabama probably after midnight tonight. You see the timing there on the right side of the screen. And for those of you listening on radio, the timing over on the western side of our coverage area, probably 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. before it starts to get out of the Birmingham area and into maybe St. Clair and Talladega. And then as we go closer to midnight, that line of storm should start working maybe into Talladega County. And then by 1 a.m., we should start seeing that line of storms in Clay, Coosa, Tallapoosa. And then as we get into the 2 a.m. hour, 2:30, 3 a.m., it should start working through the rest of Clay, Randolph, Cleburne, Calhoun, down into the rest of Talladega, Tallapoosa, Chambers, even down into Lee. And then I'm thinking probably after 4 a.m. Eastern, we'll see that line of storms make its way into West Georgia, for those of you watching us over there on social media. All modes of severe weather will be possible across East Alabama and West Georgia tonight, starting at around 9 or 10 p.m. for the westernmost side of our coverage area. However, the better chances for violent tornadoes, and I'm going to show you some in just a few moments that's ongoing right now over in Mississippi, the odds of that happening are going to be a little bit less across East Alabama and West Georgia, though that chance is not zero, and we do stand a significant chance of seeing damaging straight-line winds. The wind's already picked up across East Alabama and West Georgia this afternoon, and that has nothing to do with the thunderstorms. That's because we are caught in a pressure gradient between low pressure and high pressure, and the wind is only going to slowly increase as we go throughout the remainder of this afternoon and into tonight. And then when that main line pushes through, that's where we could stand the chance of seeing some 60 to 70, maybe even 80-mile-per-hour wind gust. Well, you know what's going to happen if we get some of that. We're going to have power outages, so you need to be prepared for that as well. All right, so let's jump over to the Southern Union State Community College live Doppler HD radar, and I want to show you what's going on right now. This is live, and we're looking at the state of Mississippi. Well, let's start to the north, and then we'll work our way down to the south. And I know it's hard to see because let me just do this. Let me take the reflectivity off the screen. And that clears it up a little bit. I want you to look now. The yellow area that's outlined, that's shaded in gray on the inside there, that's a tornado watch. And that tornado watch stretches now from just south of Indianapolis all the way to New Orleans, Louisiana. It's a long way, folks. And then notice what's happening inside that watch box. We have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. They're basically warning for every county as that line of storms moves through the area. So we're talking, I don't even think I can count that many. We're talking probably somewhere around 20 to 30 severe thunderstorm warnings are currently active between New Orleans and Evansville, Indiana, or just southwest of Evansville. And then we also have 4 active tornado warnings. And there was, I saw like 7 about 30 minutes ago along this line. So very, very active weather, and at least in Mississippi, that's what we call a red letter severe weather day. And all of that is moving our way. So let me put the composite back on, and I'll just show you, especially around Jackson, Mississippi, and just north of Jackson, Mississippi, multiple confirmed tornadoes currently taking place over there. Been watching some of the storm chaser footage on the internet, and we are seeing some damage over there in Mississippi. The only injuries I've heard of so far was in that tornado that hit Springdale, Arkansas this morning at around 4 a.m. There were 7 injuries in that storm. But this is going to be affecting a lot of folks as this storm system moves through. I think like 50 million people will be impacted by this storm system as it moves through the southeastern United States the remainder of today and during the overnight hours tonight. So very active weather over there in Mississippi. It's still a pretty good ways away from East Alabama. We can just take a look. This is just interesting stuff here. This really has no bearing on why we are here and why we're talking about it, but just to give you an idea, the leading edge of that storm right now is about 230 miles due west of Ashland, Alabama. So we've got a ways to go before this line of storms makes it into East Alabama and West Georgia later on this evening. So once again, no watches or warnings in place for Alabama at the moment, other than the wind advisory that has been extended on into Thursday. So the wind is going to continue through the rest of today, throughout the night, and into tomorrow morning. The closest watch we have right now is that tornado watch that starts at the Alabama state line and goes back basically to the Mississippi River. Pretty much the entire state of Mississippi is under a tornado watch at the moment. And I would not be at all surprised to see the same thing happen in Alabama a little later on this afternoon and into the overnight hours. Still kind of questionable as to whether we see a tornado watch or a severe thunderstorm watch for East Alabama. If I had to bet right now, I would say they're going to go with the tornado watch because these storms are going to be severe enough to pack the same punch as a small tornado. And you probably should treat severe thunderstorm warnings tonight as if it were a tornado warning and go through your tornado warning plan just as though they've issued a warning for a tornado, because these thunderstorms are going to be capable of producing some very gusty winds across the area. So we're going to pause for about 10 seconds and let our radio stations go back to programming. Just wanted to let you know that we are watching things very closely. It's a gorgeous afternoon out there right now. Nothing to worry about. Probably will not see a drop of rain across East Alabama or West Georgia until well after sunset this evening. And we will have long-form, wall-to-wall coverage for you here on Dr. Don's Weather and on our radio stations across the network, WFAZ, God's Country 90.9, and WJHO 89.7. You folks on social media, hang on. I'll be right back with you. We're going to pause now to let our radio stations go back to regular programming. All right, folks, Dr. Don back in here with you, and I'll just go up there and take a look at the chat board there and answer any questions you may have and comments that you may have this afternoon. Belinda Strickland's watching us from Woodland, Alabama. I understand that my baby girl has repositioned to Woodland, so I'm going to be keeping an eye on Woodland. Of course, I would do it anyway, but I got a young'un up there tonight, so we're going to be watching Woodland pretty close. Let's see. Melissa says she's scared of storms. Well, Melissa, don't be scared. Be aware. Just know what's going on around you. If you're here listening to me talk about the weather, then you're doing what you need to be doing. Just stay aware of your surroundings and what's taking place this evening as we go throughout the storms. We're going to talk you through it, and everything's going to be just fine. And we'll make sure you stay safe as we get into this thing. So Roy says that he's trying to keep from getting blown away in Roxton. They're turkey hunting and watching Dr. Don's Weather. Now, there's a first. So if Roy, if you have somebody, well, I'll tell you what, at least take a selfie of you in the woods and send it to me. And if somebody's with you, and I mean, I don't want to scare off the gobbler or anything, but if somebody else is with you, I would love to have a photograph of you sitting beside a tree, turkey hunting, watching Dr. Don's Weather. That would be fantastic. I would probably share that with everybody. Send it to me on Messenger. Let's see who else we've got in here. Wendy in Wedowee. Absolutely it is. Cindy Smith's watching us from Roanoke. Melissa said that it's windy in Rock Mills. Windy big time in Wedowee. And let me go down here to the bottom. Almond Community. Shonda is in here with us this evening. Also, Mr. Don Cook watching us over in LaGrange, Georgia. Sharon says that she's going to a friend's house for the night. Good idea. I think Sharon lives in an apartment complex. We've had that discussion before, but that brings up something I do want to hit on here, folks. If you live in a mobile home, do what Sharon's doing. Find a friend, a family member, somewhere you can go to ride out this storm. Don't stay in a mobile home. I mean, if it's, if you've got a business that stays open 24 hours, as soon as the storm, gets, close to you, I'm not talking about on top of you, but when the line of storms gets, a couple of counties away, go to that store and go shopping. Even though you may be in an open span building, you're still safer than you would be if you stayed in a mobile home. So just don't do it. Find a place to go. I know that it's frustrating. Most governments do not open tornado shelters, and there's a reason for that. It's because historically people won't come to that shelter until their county goes under a warning, and then you actually put people at a disadvantage because they jump in their automobile, they try to get to the shelter, and they're driving through a storm to get there, and that's just not worth taking the risk. So if you live in a mobile home, you got to have somewhere else to go. Don't wait until a warning is issued. Once a watch is issued for your area, then it's time to leave that mobile home. County Road 699 up by Tin Shop and Taylor's Crossroads. The grandbabies are watching. Well, hello, grandbabies. Thank you, Tiffany, for letting me know about that. Yes, Dana, this system will make it into LaGrange, Georgia after it comes through East Alabama. It'll be moving from west to east, so it'll come through East Alabama, and then eventually it'll sweep through West Georgia. Probably will be sometime probably after 2 a.m. Eastern, probably closer to 3:30 a.m. Eastern. So that's another problem we have here, is this is going to be coming through when everybody's in the bed asleep. So you got to have a way of getting severe weather information. Make sure you have a good weather app on your phone. And the best idea is to have a NOAA weather radio. You folks in East Alabama, you've still got time to run to your local department store and pick one up if you don't already have one, and get that thing programmed up. It will wake you up, trust me, in the middle of the night if a warning or a watch is issued for your area. Make sure you have a way to know what's going on with severe weather. If you have friends and loved ones that live in other parts of Alabama, even though weather may not be affecting you, pay attention to what's going on over in West Alabama. And if you hear a tornado warning or tornado watch or any type of severe weather over there, call them and let them know. Just make sure they're aware of what's going on. You guys can be heroes, and you can help save lives right from the comfort of your home by calling everybody you know, and make sure they know that there is a chance of severe weather tonight. And then when warnings and watches start to be issued, then call the folks in those areas and make sure they're aware that those watches and warnings have indeed been issued. So let me see. Yes, we could see severe storms in LaGrange as well. All of East Alabama and West Georgia, folks. All of East Alabama and West Georgia could see some severe weather tonight. Will we see the tornado activity as active as it is right now over in Mississippi? Odds are we will not. Odds are our biggest threat, and it's a big threat, is going to be damaging straight line winds along the front of this squall line when it moves through, most likely after midnight tonight for East Alabama and West Georgia. But again, folks, we cannot completely rule out a tornado across East Alabama and West Georgia this evening as well. So you've got to remain weather aware. This has the potential of being a high-end severe weather event across Alabama and even into Georgia as we get into the overnight hours. Loganville timing, probably after 3:34 a.m. over there in Loganville, maybe closer to 5 or 6 a.m. That's a little further into the state of Georgia, so it may be sunrise for Loganville. Yes, West Point will also get the same weather. You're in West Georgia. Hey, Miss Chris Martin, good to see you in here. How windy in Lineville? Well, you have the potential of seeing wind gusts up to 40, 50 miles per hour, and that's before the thunderstorms get there. And then when that line of storms starts to move through after midnight tonight, we could see wind gusts even higher than 50 miles per hour in the Lineville area. Kevin Ward up in Nebraska, up in Cornhusker territory up there. Good to see you, Kevin, and thanks for watching us in Nebraska. Thank you, Debbie. I appreciate your comments. All right, so Catherine says that she's watching from South Carolina, driving a truck, worried about their camper, which is at Robertson's RV. You know where Robertsonville is in 5 Points, Alabama. I can almost guarantee you they're going to make sure everything's okay out there. They'll take care of it for you. Broughton Ridge in the house. There's Bria. Roanoke, Alabama. Matt Brewer. I think it's going to be a little after 11, Matt. I mean, we could start seeing showers across East Alabama and in particularly Randolph by 10 or 11. But I think the main line is going to be closer to midnight, maybe between midnight and 1 a.m. before it starts moving through. Let's see. Hello, Allison. I'll give you a shout out. Pamela is in Chattanooga on vacation, lives in the Wadley Dickert area. Grandkids all over the place, all over Alabama and Georgia. I feel you, Pamela. I'm in the same boat. I got them everywhere, covering both states. Alex City in the house. Good evening to you, Beverly. Foster's Crossroads. Wadley, Alabama. There's Courtney and Dickert. Kelly's watching us from Delta, Alabama, up in Clay County. John. What about Roanoke? Oh, I'll tell you. All these comedians out here. Hey, yeah, look, see where Pat Smith posted the Restream link. You folks on Facebook. Now, this only applies to Facebook. If you're on YouTube or any of the other social media outlets, this does not apply to you. Only if you're on Facebook. And I'll post this link again. You need to click on the link I'm about to post and allow it to see your Facebook username. That way, when you type something, I know who you are. If you don't, then you're just going to show up as Facebook user. I'm not going to know who you are. So be sure you click on that link that I just posted and allow Restream to see your username. Restream is the platform that we use to broadcast our signal out to all of our different social media channels. So it's perfectly safe, but just be sure you do that. Now, if for some reason you don't want to do that and you're on Facebook, then when you comment, please type your name and then your comment so I'll know who you are. Let's see. We got the mayor of Frog Eye in the house. There's Miss Mary Wilkins. Let's see. Yes, and please share with all your friends on Facebook and YouTube and on Twitter. Share Dr. Don's weather with your friends. Ask your friends to share with their friends. That's another piece of being a hero during severe weather, is helping us get the word out there. So the more you share and ask your friends to share, the more folks we're hitting, and the more folks we can keep safe during times of severe weather. Is Gadsden going to be about the same as in Randolph County? Got parents camping up there. All right, so if you've got parents camping, in Gadsden. Let me go back. Yes, I would anticipate the weather to be about the same in Gadsden as what we're anticipating across Randolph County and the rest of East Alabama and West Georgia. Now, you got my attention when you said they're camping. I'm going to assume that they're either in a camping trailer or a tent, and that's not good. Even if we do not see any tornadoes in Gadsden, the wind is going to be out of control. So if they're in a camping trailer or a tent, then they need to make sure they have somewhere to go. They need to make sure because there's going to be wind. So you want to get in touch with them, make sure they're aware of the impending severe weather possibilities later on this evening. And they want to make sure they've got a way of receiving severe weather information, and they want to have a plan of somewhere to go. And if I'm camping and there is a watch issued for the area where I'm camping, I'm leaving then. I'm not going to wait until there's a warning, or I'm not going to wait until the wind gets really bad or anything like that. It's not worth taking that risk. I'm going to find somewhere to go. Of course, in a campground, the absolute, if you have no other options, then the bathhouse is certainly better than staying in a tent or camping trailer during severe weather. Hey, Chad Cook, I'm doing great. Good to see you in here, buddy. Yeah, Justin brings up a good point. Watch out for the trash cans. They're blowing. I told y'all yesterday to get your trash cans in and secure them because they're going to be all over the place. Same thing with trampolines, patio furniture. Y'all did it. Y'all all ran to the store last weekend. We had gorgeous weather, and you done got outside looking all pretty. And now here comes that March wind, and it's going to scatter everything all over the place. So make sure you get that stuff secured. Yeah, it's only been a year and a couple of days since the Randolph County tornado, the Corinth tornado, and you folks over in Coweta County, same thing. So I get it, I understand, but it's that time of year, and this type of setup is not that uncommon, and so we're going to have to deal with it. I hope too that the tornado activity at least will calm down, but folks, even though we're telling you that, I need you to understand that this line of storms is going to be potent, whether we have tornadoes in it or not. Straight line winds can cause just as much damage as a low end tornado. You get 60, 70, and 80 mile per hour wind gusts, that's going to tear some stuff up. And so you need to be prepared for that. And don't go to bed tonight thinking, they're saying we're not going to have tornadoes, so this is not going to be a big deal. I'm just afraid of how that message is being perceived. You need to be careful and make sure that you pay attention to the weather this evening. Yeah, so understand that we're concerned about some banana pudding and tin shop and whether or not the power is going to go out tonight. Well, here's the good piece to that, Brianna, Miss Tin Shop. Your refrigerator, if you don't open it every 3 minutes, will hold your food for 12 hours with no problem. So maybe what we should do, though, we've got time. I can jump in the vehicle and run down there and consume that banana pudding, and then we won't have to worry about it going to waste because somebody ate all of mine. Not going to call any names. We were in Randolph County over the weekend, and producer Tracy made her famous banana pudding and took it down there with us, and we left bits and pieces all over the place. There's several refrigerators down there with banana pudding in it, or maybe not. Maybe all gone by now. Ours is all gone now. Hey, Linda Tucker. Bowden, Georgia in the house. Judy Bennett in Concord. Randy's watching us up in Woodland. Cleveland Crossroads. Okay, I'm gonna post. I'm gonna post the Restream link again. Got a couple of folks says they didn't see it. There it is. Same thing in West Point, Georgia, as the rest of East Alabama and West Georgia. Gusty, straight line winds. Well, the winds are going to be bad before the line even gets there. Gusty winds this afternoon, and then a line of thunderstorms moving through West Point after midnight, probably toward 2 or 3 a.m. That could pack quite the punch, with damaging straight line winds being the greatest risk. Well, thank you, Sharon. That's part of the reason why we're here, as you know. But for the benefit of those who don't, I was in broadcast radio in East Alabama for 20 some odd years, and that's just something I always did. Everybody knew they could depend on me to be there on the radio and cover the weather, and that's just one of the things I've always done. And with modern technology the way it is, we can do that again on social media. And I'm very thankful for that, and that's my passion, and I enjoy doing it, and I'm glad that you guys hang out with me when this takes place. Which leads me into something else I need to say, and I want to tell you this, and I've said this before, but maybe not as often as I should. Understand, folks, that I am in emergency management. That's what I do for a living. That's my day job. That's what pays the bills. And I have a very large area of northeast Georgia that I'm responsible for. And so when we have severe weather events like what we may have tonight, and this is why I preach that you've got to have multiple ways of receiving severe weather information. It hasn't happened yet, knock on wood, but there could come a time when my priority duties in emergency management will take me away from being able to do this. So there's not a 100% guarantee that I can always be here. If I have one of my counties involved in any type of disaster, that's where I have to be. So it's always a possibility that once we get into a severe weather event such as what we may have tonight, that I may have to leave you with it. So that's why I don't want you to 100% depend on my coverage. You got to have a backup, and your backup needs a backup. We could take on damage here. We could lose power. I have a backup generator, but it'll take a moment to get that thing up and running. So there's all kind of possibilities or things that could happen to keep me from being here. And I want you guys to be prepared to be able to weather it, whether I'm here or not. So be sure you do that. Thank you, Miss Ellen Sims. Appreciate your kind words. Matt, my number one fan, Brantley, is tuned in. Cool stuff. Yeah, there is a big wildfire currently underway in, Wares Valley, Tennessee. That's up in the state of Tennessee, and I'm afraid that's going to be a bad situation before the night's over with. Cody, there are so many different factors that can change the forward motion of a storm like this. It's moving pretty good. That's part of the reason why the winds are going to be so rough when this thing moves through. And as you can see, the line of storms is not very wide. It's a pretty thin line of storms. So I would expect the worst of the weather probably will not last more than 20, 30 minutes, if that long. But the rain itself maybe will last several hours, 2 or 3 hours, as the front moves through. We're actually trying to get some convection on the back side of this. Let me go back to the west, and you can see there's some scattered stuff. There's some scattered wraparound showers, and maybe even a few thunderstorm cells popping up there just west of Little Rock. But understand we have full-blown sunshine out here right now. We won't have that when this system moves through tonight. So that secondary line that's trying to form back there probably won't be a whole lot to that by the time it makes it over into Alabama. But I wish you would look at this line. Let me bring it current and stop it. Now, I want you to look, folks. Those are tornado warnings you see flashing. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 tornado warnings. And that is all in the state of Mississippi, with the exception, even that one up there just south of Memphis, that's straddling the Mississippi-Tennessee state line. You don't typically see that many tornado warnings in effect at the same time associated with one storm system. So that's pretty significant, and unfortunately, I would expect this line to intensify even more before it gets into West Alabama. So if you know folks who live over here in West Alabama, you got to call them or text them or something and make sure they're aware of what's coming in their general direction. The folks over here in Tuscaloosa, up here in Walker County, even up here in northwest Alabama, all the way down to the Mobile, Baldwin area, they got to know what's going on, because this is going to be a stormy situation. I think more so in West Alabama than East Alabama, but I think we still are going to have a pretty good storm system move through even by the time it gets over here in East Alabama. All right, so it's 5:06 p.m. Central, 6:06 p.m. Eastern. We're going to take this for about another 5 or 10 minutes, and then we're going to step aside, and then probably I'll do another update around 9 or 10 o'clock tonight. Let's call it 9 o'clock, because I want to nap at some point. I was in Atlanta teaching a class earlier today, and probably going to be an all-nighter. So I'm going to try to catch a little quick nap before this thing gets over here. But we'll kind of figure on, let's set it up for 9 p.m. Central. We'll do another update on the latest information and what we expect to happen across East Alabama and West Georgia later tonight, unless something drastically changes before then. And if it does, then I'll just come back and we'll do this. Do yourself a favor, folks, and it also helps Dr. Don's weather. Even if you're not a YouTube user, create a YouTube account and go to Dr. Don's Weather on YouTube and subscribe to our Dr. Don Weather. Even if you normally use Facebook, go subscribe to our weather channel on YouTube. YouTube sends a push notification when we go live. It's instant. It comes to your phone. You'll see it as long as you have your notifications turned on. Sometimes the way the algorithm works with Facebook, those notifications don't go out instantly, or everybody doesn't see them all at the same time. YouTube, you'll get it. You'll get it instantly. And as a backup, make sure you download the Dr. Don Weather app from our website at drdonwx.com. You get an instant push notification from our weather app as well anytime that we go live for severe weather coverage. All right, so there's Mitch Sparks. Mitch is in eastern Arkansas, in the Bay, Arkansas area. And he said the wind was pretty rough when the line came through East Arkansas, there in Bay, Arkansas. Thank you, Mitch. I appreciate that. And I'm afraid that this line is probably going to be, it will be just as strong as it was when it went through Arkansas, maybe a little stronger. We have multiple tornado warnings out there now, and there's no reason for that to change before it gets to Birmingham. So from I-65 west in Alabama, batten down the hatches. And the next 6 hours or so could be a long ride. Casita, Alabama in the house. Thank you, Paula. There's Jamie in Lineville. Teresa, if it's a newer radio, they're very easy to program. I mean, all you got to do is pop some batteries in it and turn it on and follow the prompts on the menu there. If it's an older one, then if you'll send me a message on Messenger with the model number, I'll find the instructions for you and send them to you, or maybe even I can help talk you through it. You need to get that thing programmed. Yeah, we do need some what about shirts. I have threatened. I have threatened to create that what about club and design some what about shirts. Thank you, Teresa. All right, so they're out there trying to anchor down Upper Omaha at the moment. We understand the north side of Omaha has levitated. So they're piling rocks on Omaha, trying to keep it on the ground. No, Gina, I did not say that there's no chance of a tornado. See, that right there is what I'm afraid of, and I'm afraid a lot of folks are, not just from me, but from all media outlets. I'm afraid that's the message they're leaving with, because we're saying that the tornado threat will be higher over in West Alabama, and that the line of thunderstorms should be weakening as it moves into East Alabama. That's not at all the case. I don't think we have as great of a chance at seeing a tornado across East Alabama as we are going to see in West Alabama, but the chance is not zero across East Alabama or West Georgia. I think the threat for East Alabama and West Georgia will be more so of a straight line wind variety, which can cause a tremendous amount of damage. But there is still a tornado threat for East Alabama and West Georgia. So, yes, there is a chance that we could see a tornado across East Alabama or West Georgia. Wind is already bad down there on the Ross Clark Circle in Dothan, Alabama, down there in Wiregrass Country. I spent several years at WTVY back in the day. That's where my oldest son was born, at the medical center. Same thing for all of East Alabama and West Georgia, Harris County. Line of showers and thunderstorms after midnight. That line of storms could be severe. We expect it to be severe. It could be laying down straight line winds of 60, 70, 80 miles per hour. And a small spin-up tornado would also be possible in Harris County, just as the entire area across East Alabama and West Georgia. Same for Lafayette. Well, just rub it in there, Taylor. Go ahead and eat all that banana pudding. Y'all forget, I have the Creator up here on the mountain. So, though I don't get banana pudding very often, and yeah, she fixed me one all on my own, then she ate it. But yeah, I ate some of it. She says I ate most of it. Well, that's beside the point. That was mine. I expect I can conjure up another one, though, if I have to. Let's see. All right, folks. All right, so I'm going to leave it with you. And again, we're going to plan on coming back and doing an update around 9 o'clock Central this evening, unless there's a major change one way or another. And if so, then I'll come back before then. No severe weather worries before 9 o'clock for sure. Probably nothing much before midnight. But there's no chance we'll see anything severe before 9 p.m. However, if I were to see that is changing, then I'll come back as soon as I see that and let you know. So, again, folks, remain weather aware tonight. Whether you come back and watch me or follow us throughout the evening, make sure you get it from somewhere, from somebody reputable. Make sure that you have your phone set up so that you're going to get those notifications. Do not rely on outdoor warning sirens. They're not designed to warn you indoors. It's fantastic if you have one across the street, but don't rely on it. You got to have your phone set up with alerts. And, of course, you know what I'm going to say. You got to have a NOAA weather radio sitting beside your bed if you're going to go to bed tonight. If you live in a mobile home, have a plan to go somewhere else as soon as a watch is issued. And in this environment that we're going to have tonight, I would evacuate that mobile home if a severe thunderstorm watch or a tornado watch is issued. It's time to go somewhere else and ride out the storm. If you live in a home or if you're going to be at work tonight, you need to know where your safe place is. It's always the lowest floor. Basement is absolute best. Lowest floor you can get to in the center of that floor, hallway, bathroom, closet, away from windows. Be sure you carry items into that evacuation location with you that will help protect you and your family, which would be blankets, pillows, mattresses, a mattress off of a futon, a baby bed. Make sure you give helmets, especially to your children, football helmets, bicycle, motorcycle helmets, batting helmets. All is good head protection. Make sure you all have on hard-soled shoes. Make sure you have something with you that can make a loud noise in the event that rescuers are trying to find you. These are all things that can save your life during times of severe weather. If you're going to be at work, make sure you know where the predetermined evacuation area is going to be so that you'll know where to go in the event that a warning is issued for your area. Stay safe out there, folks. Above all, remain weather aware for the remainder of this afternoon and tonight. And I'll be back in here with you no later than 9 p.m. this evening with another update from Dr. Don's Weather in the Alpha Weather Center. Jamie Dukas, your local Alpha agent, your high-definition radar brought to you by Southern Union State Community College.